Okay, so there are so many villains crammed into Spider-Man Brand New Day right now that honestly, everybody's confused. You hop on Reddit, you scroll the comments, and it's just people going back and forth. This guy's the main villain. No, that guy is. And I get it, because think about every Spider-Man movie you've ever seen. There was usually one bad guy, maybe two. Doc Ock shows up, Goblin shows up, Vulture shows up, they throw down with Peter, the movie ends. Simple. But Brand New Day? Yeah, that whole rule book just got chucked straight in the trash, because this time we are not getting one villain, we're getting an entire army. A boomerang throwing hitman, a terrorist covered in poison spikes, a mercenary with skin like steel, a terrifying crime boss running the New York underworld, a giant green monster completely off the leash, a centuries-old ninja cult, a scorpion crawling back for revenge, and a mysterious girl who can slip inside your head and take full control of your mind. That's the lineup, dude. And here's the wild part. Most of these guys have been around in the comics for decades, but almost nobody actually knows their real stories. But here's the thing, not all of these villains are on the same level. Some of them are gonna pop up for like 5 seconds in the opening and then just vanish. Blink and you'll miss them. But others, they're not just going to shape this movie, they're going to shape an entire trilogy. So today we're breaking all of them down, who they really are, where they came from, and how dangerous they actually are. And trust me, the most dangerous one is probably not who you think. I saved that one for the end because that character might flip this whole movie on its head. But before we dive in, do me a quick favor and smash that subscribe button. We're building a little spider family on this channel, and it genuinely helps me out more than you know. Alright, let's start at the bottom and climb our way up to the scary stuff. So first up, the lightest one on the whole list, Boomerang. Real name, Fred Myers. In the comics, this guy was a pro pitcher with an absolute cannon for an arm, but he got caught taking bribes, got kicked out of the game, and basically decided, hey, if I can throw, I might as well throw for money. So he turned into a hitman with a bag of trick boomerangs. Exploding ones, razor ones, you name it. He first showed up back in 1966. And I gotta say, the costume they gave him in this movie is straight up comic accurate, ripped right off an old Amazing Spider-Man cover. But let's be real, this dude is almost definitely just gonna show up in the opening montage, chuck a couple boomerangs, get webbed to a wall, and that's it. Cool set dressing, but set dressing. Same deal with our next guy, Tarantula. In the comics, his name is Anton Rodriguez, and he's basically a dark mirror of Spider-Man, a spider-themed killer who uses his abilities for terror and murder for hire. His gimmick? Poison-tipped spikes on his boots. He first showed up in 1974, and here's the cool detail. In the movie, he fights Spider-Man on a ship, and that scene is lifted almost shot for shot from the cover of the exact comic where he debuted. So props to the filmmakers, they're literally putting comic panels on screen. But yeah, like Boomerang, probably another quick montage moment. Now this next one is where it gets interesting. Ramrod. And if you've never heard of this guy, don't worry. Basically, nobody has. He is a deep cut. We literally just got his first look recently. And in the comics, he's this metal-bodied, machine-like brute. His role in the film is still a giant question mark, but he's probably another one of these short action beats. Honestly though, the fact that they reached this far down the shelf for a character like Ramrod, that tells me the writers genuinely love this stuff, because only the hardcore comic fans are going to sit there and go, wait, they actually put Ramrod in this? Okay, real quick, I'm curious. Out of everyone we've talked about so far, who's your favorite villain in this movie? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. Alright, let's get into the heavier hitters. Let's talk about the Hand. These are the Red Ninjas, one of the oldest, nastiest organizations in all of Marvel. A centuries-old cult obsessed with immortality, tangled up with crime lords for hundreds of years. You might remember them from the Daredevil and Defenders shows. But this is their first real jump to the big screen, and in the movie, Spider-Man runs into them in a prison. Here's the part that matters though. At first, Peter loses. They actually beat him down and even rip his mask off. But then his powers go haywire, his eyes go pitch black, and he spins up this insane web tornado and plows through every single one of them. Now here's a fun question mark. The Hand supposedly got wiped out back in the Defenders show. So how are they back? Sony's official word is they return, and my honest guess, somebody hired them. And I've got a pretty good idea who, because that brings us straight to Tombstone. Real name, Lonnie Lincoln. And in the comics, this guy is genuinely terrifying. An albino who files his teeth into points with skin chemically treated to be nearly bulletproof on top of superhuman strength. He runs the underworld, and get this, in the comics, he was actually the childhood friend of a Daily Bugle editor, a thread the movie might pull on. But here's the big one. according to some pretty reliable sources, Tombstone isn't just the villain of this movie, he's being set up as the Thanos level big bad of the entire new trilogy. So he might not get a ton of screen time here, but make no mistake, this is the start of a long game. And yeah, I think he's the one pulling the hamstrings, the guy with the money quietly hiring everybody to make Peter's life a nightmare. Now here's where things really start heating up. Hulk. And I know, Hulk's a good guy, right? Not in this movie, man. In Brand New Day, Mark Ruffalo's Hulk comes back as the wild, raging, out-of-control, savage Hulk we have not seen since Infinity War. Though no more jokes, no more Professor Hulk, just a pure primal monster. And in at least one big scene, he's straight up a villain Spider-Man has to stop. There's even a moment where Peter goes, I didn't know you could get this big. And here's the theory I love. Whatever is mutating Peter, that same thing might be hitting Banner too. Some people even think we'll get the classic Grey Hulk out of this, the cunning, smarter version that actually showed up first, way back in 1962, before they switched him to green. And honestly, as a Hulk fan, I'm just happy. Marvel's been doing this character dirty for over a decade, treating the strongest guy in the room like a punching bag, and it finally looks like they're giving him his moment. Alright, we're past the halfway point now, and this is where the real meat is, so stick with me. Let's talk about the guy a lot of us have been waiting on for 9 years, Scorpion, Matt Gargan. Remember that scene at the very end of Homecoming, the one where Matt Gargan tells Vulture he wants to know who Spider-Man really is? Yeah. 9 years later, that finally pays off. Michael Mando is back, this time in a high-tech Scorpion suit. And in the comics, his story is genuinely tragic. He was just a private investigator, hired to dig up dirt on Peter Parker, and he volunteered for an experiment to get powers strong enough to take Spider-Man down. But that experiment, it broke his mind. It turned a regular working guy into an obsessed, unstable monster. And here's a theory I find compelling. In the trailer, Scorpion and Spider-Man throw down, and at first Peter is losing badly. Then something snaps, his eyes go black, and he wrecks Scorpion like he's nothing. A lot of people think Scorpion's venom is what kicks off Peter's whole mutation. Not Venom the symbiote, like everyone assumed. Scorpion's sting. Which, if that's true, is wild because it means the C-tier villain everyone underestimated is the guy who accidentally created the most dangerous version of Spider-Man we have ever seen. Real quick, I should throw Punisher in here too. John Bernthal's Frank Castle is in this thing, and he's that classic gray area character. He doesn't catch criminals, he takes them off the board for good. And since Peter flat out refuses to cross that line, the two of them start off butting heads hard before it apparently turns into more of a big brother, little brother rivalry. So he's not really a villain, but he's definitely a guy whose entire worldview clashes with everything Spider-Man stands for. And now, the one I saved for last, the most dangerous character in the entire movie, Sadie Sink's character. And at this point, it's about 90% confirmed she's playing Jean Grey. In the trailer, she's hopping from mind to mind. She crawls right into Bruce Banner's head. She reads Peter's thoughts to find his weak spot, and she threatens the people he loves. And here's the huge one. A lot of people think she's the reason Hulk gets loose. The theory is she slips into Banner's mind, breaks the device keeping Hulk locked down, and unleashes the monster. So she's not just a villain, she might be the person holding the strings to this entire movie. But okay, here's where I gotta be honest with you. And this is just my gut talking, I'm about 90% sure it's Jean Grey. But there's this little voice in the back of my head going, what if Marvel pulls a twist? Well, because think about it. Why is a mind-controlling mutant suddenly Spider-Man's villain? It doesn't fully add up. Some people think the real bad guy is hiding in the shadows, the Jackal. This twisted geneticist obsessed with cloning and messing with people's DNA. There's even a license plate in some of the footage that points straight to the comic where Spider-Man first meets him. So what if Jean is just a scapegoat, the one who gets caught and blamed, while the actual mastermind, the guy who mutated Peter in the first place, walks away clean? I don't know, man, but it would be very Marvel to make us think it's one person and then yank the rug out from under us. And look, real talk for a second, my one real fear with all of this, that they turn this movie into a giant mess. Count them up. Boomerang, Tarantula, Ramrod, The Hand, Tombstone, Hulk, Scorpion, Punisher, Jean Grey. That is a lot of characters to juggle, and we've seen this exact thing sink Spider-Man movies before. Spider-Man 3 drowned in villains. Amazing Spider-Man 2 completely fell apart. So I really hope they keep this one focused because all the pieces are here for something amazing. And honestly, I'll just say it. I'm one of those people who did not love No Way Home. Hot take, I know, come at me. But the writing, man, you had Toby and Andrew, two legends right there, and bringing them back should have been this jaw-dropping goosebumps moment. Instead, we got Ned, a kid with zero magic training, casually waving his hands and cracking the multiverse wide open like it's nothing. That was the big moment. I'll never fully forgive Marvel for that one. Those characters deserved better. So that's exactly why I need Brand New Day to stick the landing. So let me wrap this up. The way I see it, this movie's got a small-time crew of hired muscle, Boomerang, Tarantula, Ramrod, all the montage guys, while the real threats, Tombstone in the shadows and Jean Grey up front, run the actual show. And the Hulk fight? That's the spectacle everybody's gonna remember. Balance it right, and this could be the most packed Spider-Man movie ever made. And actually, you want to know who I think the real final boss of this whole thing is? After everything, it's Zendaya. I'm kidding. Mostly. But come on, in every single one of these projects, MJ just refuses to leave us alone, man. She's the one constant villain across the entire franchise. So tell me down below, what are your expectations for this one? You think it's going to be amazing or a total mess? And while you're at it, what's your favorite Spider-Man movie of all time? I genuinely want to know. Drop it in the comments, hit that subscribe button so we can grow this Spider family, and I'll catch you in the next one. We find out the truth on July 31st. Stay safe out there, webheads.